deja vu all over again. Thank you for joining us on the Red Zone Overtime. We're going to recap some of these games, some of the key games. It's a great night because it's the opening night of the high school football season. I'll be joined shortly by Caleb Beams on the KTRE side. And right now joining me is Tyler Masur, who went to a big game tonight. We'll talk about that later. But before we just get into these games, were you optimistic or pessimistic that we were going to have a high school football season?
I was a little bit pessimistic. I figured things would get started, and I was afraid things were going to get shut down again. I felt like cases might start to rise just with fans and everything. But tonight, I saw the people in the stands, and most people were wearing masks. People that weren't in a group, maybe like a family, they were spread out apart. At least where I was, it looked like everyone was being responsible. So that made me a little more optimistic for what the season may hold.
Well, I do know that the school officials, superintendents on down to the ADs, their whole mantra was, we're going to enforce, the protocol. You got to wear a mask, and you got to have spacing, distancing in the stadium where I think it's 50% capacity. I think was that what it was?
I'm not 100% sure. Honestly, it looked like it may have been a little bit more, but there was a lot of people that were standing along the fence lines, not as much crowded up in the stands. So maybe they gave a little bit of leeway to let people spread out around the fences and everything. But it wasn't a totally packed stadium like you normally see on Friday.
But still, the excitement was there. Let's start off with
Game of the Week, sponsored by Automotive Supercenter.
Because these two teams would play at the beginning of the season, because Carthage is no longer in that district of doom, I thought, well, if Kilgore plays them first, maybe Carthage hasn't gelled yet and they can jump on them, but they just kind of picked up where they left off.
They definitely did, and it's impressive. Carthage lost 5 offensive starters. They lost 9 guys on their defensive side. So it was really, I think they won, 27-7 was the final score. So really impressive outing on the defense, only to give up 7 points to a Kilgore team that's definitely capable of putting up points on you. And Carthage, man, they look every bit as good.
I think they're in 10-4A, and I think obviously they're going to wreak havoc in that district because they're coming from the Doom. It's a deal where it's like, we got to play Carthage? Oh my goodness. Right. So Kilgore, they gave them all they had, but Coach Surratt has his guys ready all the time. We have some sound. You see the score there, 27-7. Carthage coming out in a very efficient. They played efficiently tonight. Is what I noticed in the plays we had.
Absolutely. One thing I do want to see from Carthage moving forward is more offensive production. 27 points, it gets the job done. But they return their starting running back. They return their starting quarterback. So, Kai Horton, he threw 49 touchdowns last year.
He's a bad boy.
So, I'd like to see them score more than 27 against a team like Kilgore. Not to discredit Kilgore for anything, but when you look at the difference between Carthage and Kilgore right now, I think Carthage is just that much further ahead, at least on the offensive side of the ball. I would have liked to see more than 27, but you'll take a 20-point win in week 1. Absolutely.
Right. That was Jeff Chavez talking to Coach Scott Surratt. All the guy knows how to do is win, no matter what division, no matter a pandemic or a hurricane or anything. He lines his guys up and they go play.
It'll be interesting to see what happens in the state playoffs, though. You've got Gilmer, Pleasant Grove, all in that division too. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough once they get there.
And we're going to show Gilmer here shortly. They've got their new coach, Coach Alan Metzel. He's new in terms of his title. He's been around those guys. He knows those guys. We had that video of Gilmer and Gladewater. Can we roll that? The debut of 2 opposing coaches as the head coach. Johnny Levere at Gladewater, taking over for John Berry, who's now the architect of the Lobos defense with Coach John King. They can't play for another month, so I know they're itching. And of course, what happened tonight, I said Alan Metzel taking over for Matt Turner. Coach Metzel knows these young players. He's been around them. He's like, we know their every move. And they got some good productivity. And these two, when they meet, there's always something good going on. And these guys play like the Buckeyes of Gilmer. I mean, you talk about rich tradition. They have it, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. Gilmer's always good. And last year they lost 3 games, but they really only lost to Carthage once, and they lost to Pleasant Grove twice. Carthage and Pleasant Grove both went on to win state championships. So they're looking to build on a fantastic 2019 season. They returned 5 guys on the offensive side, 6 defensively. Their quarterback, Mason Hurt, comes back. They've got a stud receiver in Dylan Flewellen. He comes back as well. Those guys are going to be a force to reckon with this year.
Well, it was a game. The final of that game, Gladewater, it was nip and tuck for a minute there, and they would finally pull away for their first win of the season in a big way, 55-34. So I know Coach is glad to get that first win as a head coach for the Gilmer Buckeyes. So congratulations to them. And I tell you what, I have to give a high five to the kids.
Absolutely.
You know,
to go back on
Definitely.
that, another thing that I was worried about was, with the 50% or 25% attendance rule, whatever, different districts have in motion, and, possibility of bands not being able to come out, would that environment still be the same? And honestly, tonight it felt the same. Every game last year, I remember as soon as the coin toss was over and the teams went to their respective sides to kick off, I felt that jolt in my stomach and my heart race, and I was worried that I wasn't going to feel that this year, and I did, and it just felt like football again, and I really loved that.
Hey, Caleb, thanks a lot. Good job today, buddy. We'll talk to you this weekend. Your final thoughts before we cash out of here, my man?
I'm just I got two teams that I'm looking at next week. You stole one of them, Chapel Hill. I'm interested to see what they can do next year. I really thought that they had something rolling last year early in the beginning of the season. They got into district play and just kind of hit a buzzsaw there. But my other team is Carthage. Everybody's looking at Carthage, so that's nothing surprising. But I want to see them come out next week and put up some serious points on the board, because I feel like that offense has the ability to be something really special.
He's telling Masur. It's like he has a French name, but he doesn't. He's not French, I don't think.
It's kind of French.
It's kind of French.
Family France.
And for Caleb Beams, I'm Michael Coleman. I want to thank our crew here. We don't do this by ourselves. We have folks at home, literally, and folks downstairs as well. So the kudos to them as well. Thank you all for watching. Please stay safe, and we'll do another round of the Red Zone on this camera next week.